Hello everyone, so glad to meet you all. Greetings in the precious Jesus' name. We are going to do Fascinating Fridays series, and the very first series that we are going to do in Fascinating Fridays is about Trust in the Lord series. It is doubtlessly the perfect thing that we can do all of our lives. Now, first of all, what does the word trust means? Trust is putting your hope or your confidence or your security in a certain thing. And if that certain thing is removed, you may be tend to shake off. And that is called trusting. And who is a trustworthy person? When we call someone as a trustworthy person, we say that he or she thinks best for us and they are never going to betray us. And we are going to meditate upon trusting in the Lord. There are so many options to put our trust to. We have our careers or possessions or favorite people, relationships, money. We have so many endless options if we want to pick up. There is something to trust upon. But the Lord is reminding us the real blessing is to trust Him at all times. The Lord wants us to know that trusting the Lord and trusting something or someone else has two different consequences in the end. To understand this much better, let's see what the Lord has given an imaginative picture, especially to the people of Judah. And let's see in Jeremiah 17:5-8. This is what the Lord says: Cursed is the one who trusts in man, who draws strength from mere flesh, and whose heart turns away from the Lord. That person will be like a bush in the wastelands. They will not see prosperity when it comes. They will dwell in the parched places of the desert, in a salt land where no one lives. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So we have seen that there is an option of trusting in our own strength or in the strength of someone else. Something to trust upon that is besides God. And we also have the beautiful option to trust the Lord. So the God gave two different pictures. One, a shrub in a lonely desert and completely wearing off, and it's going to die and it's just deserted. And other, the picture of a flourishing tree beside the streams of water. Such beautiful scene it would be to see a beautiful tree live and fresh and green beside the streams of water. And that's what God says. I'm like those waters, and when your roots, that is when your trust goes into me, you will be like that flourishing tree. Trusting something else might look so great at the beginning, but slowly and eventually it's going to wear off. It's going to leave you empty. It's going to leave you thirsty. It's going to leave you deserted and all alone because everything else is unstable. And if we see the words in Jeremiah, just now what we have read, these are the words of the Lord out of a great burden to His people. And during the time of Jeremiah, God picked up Jeremiah right from his young age to give a difficult message to the people of Jerusalem and Judah that, you're going to go into captivity. And many years have passed and people saw that it's not happening. What Jeremiah told, it's not happening. Maybe he's just simply threatening. But God and both the prophet Jeremiah, they were weeping because they know what is going to come. And especially these words are to Judah. And God is saying, if you believe in me, and I'm going to establish you. If you don't, and he also picked up, if you see the further verses in chapter 18, you see that God shows about a potter who makes a vessel again when it's broken. And that's what God says. If you come back to me, if you return to me, I'll not destroy you, I'll build you up again. So many options, so many warnings, and so many invitations that God has given. But sadly, Judah went into captivity. But this is the same call for us. The same Lord, the same God is calling us to turn away from trusting something else which will keep you lonely, which will give you thirstiness, which will make you to be defeated at the end. And He is asking us to trust in Him because His words are true. And if to know whether you're trusting a wrong source, just think through these two questions. These two simple questions will give you the right perspective. Is your first intentional thought is to see the Lord's face as soon as you wake up? What is the first thing that is coming into your heart as soon as you wake up? Do you want to say, Jesus, thank you for this day. I want to seek you. Or something else is occupying. And that answer itself shows that you're having trust in something else. That is your life. That is your end goal now. Whatever is coming to your mind constantly when you're alone, when you wake up, and whatever you're struggling to do, that has become your trust. So that is an answer. The second question, do you feel you cannot live without that person or without that thing, without that status or without that career? If your answer is yes, then you have turned away from trusting the Lord. These simple two questions gives you the picture, where are you right now? Where are we right now? And if we are trusting something else besides God, it's a constant worry, constant anxiety, constant fear. You don't know whether it's going to stay or not. You don't know whether it's going to leave you or it's going to help you in the future or not. And the Lord wants to protect us from such kind of situation. And He wants to be that constant hope, constant and stable source of life. And He wants to invite you to trust Him. And you can ask me, how can you know that you can trust the Lord? Why do you need to trust the Lord? Because the Lord Himself is truth and He is trustworthy. In Numbers 23:19 it says, God is not human and that He should lie, nor a human being that He should change His mind. He won't keep changing His mind. He won't lie at all. Does He speak and then not act? Does He promise and not fulfill? That is His question to us. He says that whatever He says, He will do it constantly, time and again. He says to His children, He says to His created human beings, if you come to me, you will find yourselves that I'm faithful. God is faithful and He will be faithful forever. And the second reason that we can trust the Lord is the Lord gave His only Son out of great love for us. This is the greatest reason, if you ask me, why you should trust the Lord. And Romans 8:32 has a beautiful promise. He who did not spare His own Son but gave Him up for us all, how will He not also along with Him graciously give us all things? God's heart is loving that it hurts to cry. I cried, my heart hurts, and it's so overwhelming when I remember that He gave Himself to save us. He gave Himself to protect us. And Jesus is that proof that we can trust the Lord always, always, always. His love is so sacrificing and His love is always there. And He is ready to do it all over again. And He always loves us, and that is the greatest reason for us to trust Him. And the third reason, He made us, and He made us for His purpose, and He knows all the days of our lives. In Psalms 139:16 it says, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. You can trust Him, my dear friends, because we are made in His image and for His purpose, and He has a plan for all the days of our lives, even before we have a particular shape, even before we came onto this earth, even before we were born. The Lord has a purpose for us, and He is our creator. We can trust Him because He knows everything that belongs to our lives. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows the end. He knows the end. He knows what happens in the future. And if we just follow His instructions, that's what He's saying. You trust me, and I'll make sure that I'll be trustworthy to you. I'll be faithful to you. Now this is the call for you. Are you going to trust Him Will you choose to turn away from the wrong sources of hope? That is the cause of your anxiety. That is the cause of your fear. That is the cause of your being so insecure. That is the cause of constant struggle and fights. And you're fighting with everyone, maybe because you're trusting a wrong source. Choose to trust Him all the days of your life, and Jesus is waiting for a yes from you. And here is the promise again from Jeremiah 17:7-8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. May God bless you.